Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? Welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. This is your home for Los Angeles Rams news. Joining me, as always, Ryan Skinny T. Anderson, the great one. We got hockey on tonight, depending when you're watching this. Are the Florida Panthers going to seal the deal, win their second straight Stanley Cup? That doesn't matter about this show. Skinny T, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm rooting for Connor McDavid to come back. I want to get him a cup. That's all.
I want them. I'm actually kind of rooting for Florida. I don't know why. I think I just really like
Tkachuk.
Yeah, I really like Tkachuk. But I do want to see Edmonton win tonight, so it goes Game 7. Game 7, Stanley Cup. I mean, there's nothing better. But anyway, big news for the Rams. Unfortunate news for the Rams. Starting tackle, Alaric Jackson, fresh off a new 3-year deal, is going through blood clots yet again, which kept him out the majority of the 2022 season. Obviously a very serious condition. So first and foremost, we wish nothing but the best and a healthy, speedy recovery for Alaric, as that's obviously much more important than football. But because of this, the Rams went out and signed veteran Pro Bowl tackle DJ Humphries. 8 years in the league with Arizona, spent last year a little bit banged up, only played in 2 games with the Kansas City Chiefs, still only 31 years old, so certainly seems like a valuable depth piece. But Skinny, first and foremost, your thoughts on Alaric Jackson? The team said they're hopeful he'll still be ready to go by training camp, but with this type of diagnosis, it's just you don't know. It's not like an ACL injury. It's something very different than that. So just your thoughts on Jackson.
Yeah, it's very murky. So in 2022, he missed a bunch of games because of this, and it's unclear whether he was kept out of games just because 2022 is kind of a lost cause, or if he needed more time to figure this out and rectify the situation. So that's kind of a big murky thing hanging out there. They're optimistic that he can play, but the Rams are often optimistic, and I did a little research because something in the back of my head, was like there was some athlete that retired because of blood clots recently, and just last year, I want to say it's not Billy Preston, he's
Billy Price.
Billy Price, Billy Preston, great musician. But Billy Price last year retired due to blood clots, and his was also had to do with a pulmonary embolism that he had to get taken care of. So, there's a wide chasm of different outcomes for this. So if you buy into the optimism on the Rams side, which they're always kind of leaning in that direction, there's that. But, looking into blood clots a little more, the problem, especially for offensive linemen, is that you then go on blood thinners. And when you're on blood thinners, that increases your risks of internal bleeding. And that can cause, life altering, career ending possibilities for them. So, big wide chasm. So if you're leaning a little bit negative these days, you might think that Alaric Jackson, there's a chance that he can retire from this. And I mean, I do think that's on the table. I don't mean to be doom and gloom about it, but they just signed him to a nice new contract, and it's unfortunate on all sides. So hopefully it's on the optimistic side.
Yeah. And you said it best. Like, I'm not a doctor, but blood clots, obviously a serious thing, but to a normal non-athlete, very treatable. And, in your daily life, like you said, blood thinners, like you can get through it fine. But yeah, when you're at the risk of, you're going up against clashing bodies every single play, you're getting bruised up. I mean, think of what bruises are. It's like internal bleeding essentially. And if you're on blood thinners, that becomes a very, very serious thing. So in terms of like life altering, he's, away from football. I think all indications are he's fine in that regard. But in terms of his football life, very serious and very unfortunate. And hopefully, I don't even know what technically the terms need to happen for him to be like cleared of good. Obviously, just not to have blood clots anymore. But I don't know how that happens. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. You look at your itch, and do you know how? Do you know what that means?
To be free of blood clots? I don't know.
You were like, oh, I know, I'm going to jump in. So hopefully everything works out. Lark Jackson, has climbed his way up this roster to become a staple on the left side and one of the better left tackles in football, obviously, as was shown by the 3-year extension that he was given. So all that being said, a lot of people forgot a few weeks ago, actually, which I'm curious if the Rams already knew about this, because a few weeks ago they signed David Quessenberry, who was formerly with the Minnesota Vikings. He's been with the Houston Texans, been with the Tennessee Titans, but really played a lot of offensive tackle, but primarily of the recent years played more of the variety on special teams. So, field goal kick, and, punt and stuff like that. But it seemed like that addition, because it kind of came out of nowhere, like there was no words of injuries or anything like that, but then he was added. So maybe they had some indication this happens. But now just, a few days ago, add DJ Humphries, as we mentioned. So let me, I guess, after this, we can just talk about Humphries a little bit more. But okay, let me just phrase it this way. Going into the season, if Alaric Jackson is not ready, we'll play, unfortunate, not doom and gloom necessarily, but just say he's not ready. How does this offensive line look, do you think, with DJ Humphries? Because we know how important pass blocking is to this offense. We know how important it is to Matthew Stafford at his accelerated age, I'll say, to say it a little nicer. With DJ Humphries sliding in, obviously I don't think he's at the caliber of Alaric Jackson anymore, but do you think it's like it was last year where those patch of games were real rough, or do you think they seemingly look okay with Humphries back there?
Well, his last couple of outings, which are probably not a great example, week 14 and week 18 for the Chiefs, he allowed 5 and 6 pressures respectively, which is a lot considering he played 92 snaps.
Not great.
Three of those were sacks. Looking through kind of just as pass blocking numbers, on themselves, like, some good years, some bad years. Looking back to 2023, which was the last year he played full time, 28 pressures, not bad. 4 sacks allowed, nothing terrible. He did make a Pro Bowl, just a few years ago.
2021. Yep.
But at his age and, kind of with this skill level, I would say probably, not the best answer for the Rams offensive line, which you pointed to. Stafford was one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year when kept clean. Just from a PFF perspective, his passing grade dropped into the 30s when he was under pressure. That's one of the worst. So, I mean, if you want to talk about high variance that can cause, I mean, this is wild from how good it can be to how bad it could be. So, a lot is depending on this. And Alaric Jackson was kind of, I wouldn't say the centerpiece of it, but I think you're looking more interior for the centerpieces, not to get too on the nose for centerpiece, but anyway, this is less than ideal. Definitely.
Yeah. So so looking at the depth chart, and you brought in DJ Humphries, you bring in David Quessenberry, and then already on the roster you have Warren McClendon and AJ Akuri, and you have undrafted free agent Trey Wedig. Skinny, do you think like this is a shoe-in? Again, we're just playing the side that Jackson's not ready. Hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully he is. It's, he's back for training camp, feeling great. We don't have to worry about it. But let's just say he's not by week 1. Maybe he will be later in the season. By week 1, Jackson's not ready. Do you think, and this is all obviously speculation, we have no idea, but do you think like it's a lock DJ Humphries, or is there a chance McClendon or Akuri or even Wedig surprises people? Maybe one of they get the actual starts.
I'm going to go slim to none.
So do you think it's a lock that Humphries is the guy?
He's got to be the guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's the one with the most experience. Was Trey Wedig is he the really short guy that's supposed to the center, or was that another name that I'm?
No, yeah, another name that Trey Wedig is actually 6'7",
right?
Okay. Out of Indiana. So I'm just, not to cut you off, but I'm actually really high on Wedig. Like, I'm not saying he's like slotted to be like the true backup, but something just about, maybe it's just obviously because USC and UCLA now are in the Big Ten, but even for years, I mean, the Big Ten just puts out offensive linemen. Obviously, Alaric Jackson and AJ Akuri, I think, are both from the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken. So Wettig, obviously undrafted, doesn't have the same intangibles and pedigree that the drafted tackles had, but certainly has the size. Played in the college football playoff for the Indiana Hoosiers, coached by Curt Cignetti. So I don't know. Maybe I'll take Wettig to shock people and climb the board.
I should take your optimistic standpoint more often. I don't mean to be negative on it, but left tackle is really it's a tough position to play. Jumping from offensive line or jumping from college to the pros, even for first rounders. I mean, you look at what Joe Alt did, really good year, but it still developing, and he made a leap from left to right tackle. But it's a tough one, and that's why I kind of I'm leaning toward the experience of DJ Humphrey, and
for sure.
And there are there's ways that they can help him out and protect him a bit. But yeah, I'm playing a negative card again, unfortunately.
Well, luckily, we did an episode a while back, but we all want to see a lot more 12 personnel out of this Rams offensive playbook, and this may force their hand of like, we need another tight end over on that side to kind of assist in whoever's playing left tackle over there. So just to confirm, Alaric Jackson went to Iowa in the Big Ten, and AJ Curry went to Michigan State in the Big Ten. So
nailed it. Nicely done.
There you go.
And if you
the Rams love their Big Ten offensive linemen. I mean they drafted Logan Bruss. Obviously that didn't work out, but they love their Big Ten offensive linemen.
He was Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah, that should be a lock right there.
Rob Havenstein. Yeah. I think Havenstein was also Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's right.
Where'd Kevin Dodson go? Obviously they didn't draft him, but let's see. Where's old K-Dot?
Well, and Steve Avila is he's a Big 12
Big
guy.
12, yeah, TCU. So that was a little different. K-Dot, Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's very, very fitting for him.
Yeah.
And I think if you go back to our undrafted free agent show, I don't remember, but I think I was pretty high on Trey Wettig there as well.
You were,
but not as a starter year one.
Yes.
he may be ready to take over for Alaric Jackson after his 3-year contract is over.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we saw last year one undrafted and one late round pick in terms of offensive linemen have to be thrust in to the starting role in terms of, Bo Limmer and obviously our guy from USC. And they played valiantly, but that is not an ideal situation and not what the Rams want to have if they're going to truly be Super Bowl contenders. So
so much hinges on the offensive line. Really, it's super important this year. Just, keeping Stafford upright, not hurt, is where we want him. And then also, getting kind of that running game back to where it was in 2023, where it was, it was nice last year, but it was really excellent in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. We'll obviously keep everyone posted on anything we hear about Alaric Jackson. But again, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers to his health, that he's getting healthy quick. But let us know what you guys think about the DJ Humphries signing. David Questenberry, can we actually see him more? Is he more of a special teams ad depth piece? But we'll see. But thank you as always for making this show part of your day. For Skinny T, I am Ryan, and we'll be back with plenty more news talk here on the Rams Skinny.